You're not live in there yet. All right, so we are live on all platforms now. Michael, I'll see you soon whenever you're connected.
All right, cool.
Appreciate you, man.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
So welcome to the Formula Cast.
Absolutely. A special Formula podcast.
It is very special.
Mm-hmm. We haven't caught up with our friends over at GLAXON for a little while.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, they're doing some cool stuff. They have some exclusive breaking news type information, and that's what that's all the cool shit that people talk about. So we're gonna try our hand at that. They want to give us some exclusive info about what they got going on and talk about some V2 products and some all kinds of stuff. So
exactly. Anyway, Justin, how was your weekend, man? Let's give a little recap while I wait for them to get in here.
Well, because I think the people that follow me, they're not used to not seeing me every single day. I didn't do any Instagram stuff Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. And we had some friends come in from out of town. It turned into, so the way it started was my best friend growing up, he lives in Virginia, and another friend of ours lives in Minnesota. He was going to fly down to Virginia, and then they were going to drive down here to hang out for the weekend. And I was like, that's going to be a fun road trip. I said, there's no way I'm missing that.
Right.
So I said, I'm going to fly to Virginia too, and then drive back with them the next day. And then our other friend, Robert from California, said, I'm not missing that.
Yeah.
So he flew from California to Virginia, and then all four of us drove down here on Friday. We hit a gym on in the middle of nowhere in Virginia, and we came down, and Casey drove up from Florida. When she found out what was going on, she's like, I'm not missing that. And then Nick drove in from Louisville for the weekend. So we had a crazy weekend. It was absolutely beautiful.
I know. I'm glad that I at least got to, catch the tail end of it and see you guys all. It was really good to see a lot of the Snoop Group people that come together. It is truly a family. And so it looks like we got Joey in here. Hey, buddy.
There he is.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Hey, man. Welcome to the stream.
Yeah, this is the Formula. Never been on here.
Well, right.
It looks really high quality. I'm not gonna lie. You got a great camera setup going on.
I'm loving the background lighting.
I got this UFO coming through the top of the ceiling.
Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't know that this is how it was going to go down. This is pretty impressive.
So we can multi, make it multi-screen here.
Or we can just get in closer together.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And we can actually. Oh, okay. Well, that's a nice little three-way action.
Yeah.
So welcome, Michael. How are you, buddy?
I'm good. I think the balcony's not going to work. So.
The rotate works too, man. So I guess we'll kind of kick it off.
You got those style the drip GLAXON shirts.
Those are sexy.
The material is amazing.
You guys get all of you?
I have a blue one, I think.
A blue one?
Yeah, I got the blue one.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
So to everybody, all 14 of you watching live right now, this is Joey and Michael from GLAXON. They're joining us tonight. Amazing humans. We've crossed paths quite a few times, and it's been.
So I was just thinking about it. So a year ago is when they sent the ice cream.
Yeah.
For the party,
dude. Not to get too far off, but a year ago today, you and I met for the first time in person.
Wow.
Literally.
Yeah, you're right.
12th of July, 2020.
Wow. And then we have so these guys, so the entire party went down a year ago, and it kind of got thrown off because you did the 3-year party a little bit earlier. And that's what was kind of going through my head this week. All these anniversary dates kind of coming up.
It's exciting, man. We're working on kind of the video now, and I almost as it gets closer, I'm kind of regretting not throwing a party for it, but man, trying to do that on top of opening,
right.
But anywho,
it was awesome.
Yeah. So thank you.
So yeah, I was just thinking about that. The ice cream the other day. That was a pretty awesome experience.
On top of the conjunction of all the other shit we had in our system that day.
Yeah. We had a lot going on.
So, but I guess we want to kick it off and get some GLAXON stuff going.
Yeah, we'll just jump right into it. I know. So we talk to you guys, you know, offline all the time, and we know that you've had the V2 things going on, like revamping basically the entire line, some tweaks here and there. Some products, big changes, other products like small little tweaks and that. So you guys have been super busy, and then just randomly dropped in we're going to GNC as well. So there's been no shortage of GLAXON news lately, which is cool because we end up talking about you guys every single week anyway. So we might as well have you on.
Dude, there's like a whole lot that's happened with the brand in the last year. Makes it, I wish I could say it makes it more fun, but it's just like the layers of complexity that we have now are it's nothing compared to what it was when we were sending you guys mock ice cream.
Yeah.
Well, so like that's one. So because I know we're going to talk about GNC, right? Like that's a big part of the conversation tonight.
Hold on, sorry, I'm trying to get something sorted out, but it's fallen out of its case. We can talk about GNC. We have a whole bunch of launches coming up. You guys have teased some of those. I think, I don't know. I think Blair reached out about the collagen. I think maybe you guys are going to be doing like some food stuff with that recently, like or coming up here in the future. I don't know.
Yeah, she's right over here too. We can bring her on.
Yeah. So the collagen is going to be pretty cool. We kind of figured out some really cool stuff about how with flavoring collagen that we didn't know, and it was a lot easier than. It was a lot easier once we understood it. There's a certain way that collagen tastes really good, and it's a little bit contrary to flavoring anything else. There's sweetness, there's bitterness, acidity, and flavors that are involved in all this. One of those, it doesn't belong in collagen. Take it out, it kind of makes things a little bit easier. I think, Justin, you got to try the collagen a while back. It was, I'm not sure which one. You guys are both about to get this newer one. I think the frosted cinnamon swirl is the best, but it's pretty cool. I think there'll be some cool functional food to play with, like recipes and things like that. I don't know if either of you guys are like big collagen users.
Because there's like a big thing, whether it's beneficial, whether it's not beneficial. There's like these really like hard lines that some people take when it comes to it. But I've spoken to enough people at this point to not just like brush it off like the way some people do. Like it kind of goes back to the whole context thing again. And I think it's usually like geared towards women, and I think women are oftentimes they're the ones that are most guilty of not getting the best diet. Sometimes they're trying too hard for weight loss. They're not necessarily like getting the stuff that they need all the time. So I think that's where you see like some pretty cool stuff from a lot of women that I know, where they their hair, their nails, and things like that. I think when you keep it in perspective a little bit, like everything else with supplements, all of a sudden it becomes more viable. But then you have such a hot button topic like collagen. Everybody jumps into it, and then the things just start to, go off the rails a little bit. So,
right.
Yeah.
Jacob, do you use collagen?
Personally, I don't. However, I see I see its point and its validity. Obviously, we recommend it and we sell it here. But that, in addition to everything else that I'm already taking, I don't know if I can fit it into my regimen right now.
Right.
So,
I think for me personally, I see it as just like first and foremost, like another protein source.
I don't disagree with you. I would say, given that most of it's synthesized in, it's a lot in the body, right? It's the most abundant protein source in the body. I would use it for more of the benefits of, skin health and joint health if we're using the right sources. But because what's the amino acid profile look like on collagen? It's like
heavy on glycine, right? Heavy on glycine, lower on BCAAs.
Yeah. So
his eyes are up there.
Joey's got
Well,
it.
the thing is, like, which collagen are you talking about?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
Like, it depends
Yeah.
on the source, you know?
Yeah, well, like one thing I said right away is that people are like, "Oh, so GLAXON's doing a collagen." I was like, "Well,
Yeah, well,
it's not going to be hey bovine college types 1, 1, and 3 with a GLAXON tub on it."
Mhm.
So before anybody like says anything about, I was like, wait until the format. I say that a lot with some products you guys have done that maybe are like a traditional kind of thing that is like what other people are doing. I was like, just wait till the format comes out 1st.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, just wait. I was like, because it's not going to look like every other one.
Yep.
Joey, do you have anything to say?
Well, that's definitely true. And there's other things like we make some absorption considerations in this new collagen, but there's another botanical in there that, it does, help increase your endogenous production of collagen synthesis. So in that way, like what we're trying to do is using this botanical source kind of thing with actual collagen to kind of like, trigger that whole kind of response. It's very similar to like mTOR and how that's going to increase your muscle protein synthesis. This is kind of triggering those collagen production pathways and then giving your body all the substrates it's going to need to actually produce that collagen. So, you're and it's going to be a hydrolyzed collagen. So it's not going to be like the full intact, collagen peptides. So, with that, with our creative way that we've been able to reduce the particle size to enhance the absorption, those are two considerations that are pretty cool. But then the botanical edge of it, like extra leucine, if you would say like in a protein supplement, it'll give you that same kind of effect and get all of those gears moving in the right direction to increase your collagen production.
So the flavor, you guys, I know we're going to get to try it pretty soon, but you said the flavor is pretty intense.
Well, we've got 3 of them. We've got we have the frosted cinnamon swirl, and that's really for the crowd who, likes putting this stuff in their coffee kind of thing. Or if you just want to drink it and have it taste like completely awesome, that's great. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the raspberry rose, which isn't like that fruit side of the spectrum, but it does have that hint of rose because we talked about it previously about trying to bring in some of these floral accents to it. And we thought raspberry rose was kind of neat. Plus, there's that fun RR alliteration to it. Mm-hmm. And then the third one we're calling naked, which is pretty much unflavored. Now, in my opinion, I would find like the most utilitarian use out of that because I'm one of those people that will like take a scoop of collagen and I'll add it to my protein supplement for like a post-workout kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I've done that in Xeno previously where we actually had collagen in there because it's going to help with like your joints and your ligaments and your tendons and all that other kind of stuff that's also undergoing damage while you're working out. So yep. I like the versatility of the 3 different flavors that we have.
Yeah. That's the way I always take it too. I take it post-workout with my protein shake. Yeah. It kind of gives like a good balance of the amino acids and everything together. I like it.
So, rather than us just kind of like freestyling and spitballing, which I'm sure will happen no matter what, do you guys have any questions or do you get questions that like we can sort of long form answer? Or do any people watching have questions? Maybe we can divulge into some pieces of the brand that are.
I personally have a question that, and I might have missed something as far as like is that typing, or is that
Joey's a loud typer.
Oh no, that's fine.
It's microphone.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah. So when the version 2.0 of greens came out, was there a transition from the burstberry to the dinosaur fruit? Are those the same? Because I think I missed something when we started getting that one in, and
so
I still.
There are 4 flavors.
Okay.
Joey's gone.
Well, anyway.
There he is.
Welcome back. So anyway, 4 flavors of greens.
That's where we're at right now. We brought back. We were going to vault burstberry for a little while, and then we decided that with the GNC launch, that could be something cool and neat for them to actually have in their products line. If you actually, excluding all flavor variations, what we're going to do in the rollout is that we're starting off with 5 different products for GNC. So GNC will be getting the super greens. They're also getting Tranquility. they're getting Astrolite, they're getting Plasm Surge, and they're getting the green version of Specimen, the worldwide one. So out of the 23 entire products that our brand actually has, they're getting 5, and they're going to probably roll a couple more through if we end up doing like an exclusive thing for them. And it's interesting where our approach is going to be, because we will do some special things for GNC. But that doesn't mean that we're not going to do special things for other brick and mortar retailers or do special things for direct to consumer things. So what eventually will end up happening is it'll be more or less like a scavenger hunt. Like, you're going to have to go to these different places if you want the whole GLAXON experience. So it's one of the things that we've been playing with, but it's a way to make sure that everyone involved in the brand still continues to be happy and appreciate the new things that are coming from us.
Right. No, I think that's awesome.
Yeah, because I think there's a lot of people that had that initial reaction, like, well, GLAXON is going to go GNC. You're like, oh, they're going to have to like remove all this stuff from their products and formulas. And that was like a lot of reaction that I saw from people, because you're known for, well, part of it is because you're known for like pre-workouts, but as anybody that gets into the brand at all, we know that, I mean, I love your pre-workouts, but there's so many other products that maybe you have to tweak them a little bit here and there or whatever, but it's not like, I mean, you guys aren't going into this blind going, oh yeah, we're just going to have to like revamp everything.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, we knew this was coming before we started this whole V2 season.
Right.
And it took like a ton of time to like make products better, listen to the partners that we'd already had, like Jakob and customers that were like, that didn't like this or that didn't understand this or that, certain value adds that like didn't make sense, that like we spent money on and then people didn't care anyway. And then on top of that, like, okay, so we're going to go to a big retailer and try to get more eyes on the brand, grow it.
We lost his audio there for a second.
Just me?
Yeah, I think so.
You're good.
Okay.
You're good now.
All right. Yes. Anyway, yeah, there was all plus GNC type of things, big box retailer type of things that we were trying to like put into our day-to-day grind and figuring out how to make the products better for our current partnerships and for a larger market, and like still upgrade everything and make products more, tasty and effective and cost friendly for the right graphics to people and eye catching and so forth. Like that's been part of the job for a year. We kind of knew we were going this route. I think that's what makes sense for us. Like if we're ultimately want to reach as large a market as possible without compromising anything in the products and the branding, and then like try to change people's lives for the better with like the products we make. It's that simple. And I think that's probably a really generic goal for any supplement brand, but it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
So
it's hard to please everybody, and you're dealing with multiple different types of customers at this point, whether it's direct, brick and mortar, GNC, big box, etc. So I can see that being a big struggle to overcome and trying to appeal to, as whether it's a different or a different like market of customer for each, but then also maintain the same integrity within that brand. So.
Well, not only that, but then you have all your labels, like all the designs and everything like that. Like if you have anything like a GFY, I don't know, you put that in a GNC or something like that, maybe it doesn't, attract as much attention as it would in a brick and mortar store. So it's like you have to find that balance between like just what Jacob's saying, not just with ingredients, but also the brand message and delivery and all that other stuff too. So it's like,
and GFY is one of those products too, not to overspeak, but as a retailer, as a brick and mortar retailer, you kind of have to know how to talk about that product. Like you kind of have to know why it's working the way it's working, and for it to just to be there is not going. I mean, don't get me wrong, the labeling's impressive, especially the new one. Very, very impressive on the design. Robert's a killer. But yeah, so I mean I think that's why it's directed towards like brick and mortar kind of. But then,
I think you're right about BFY. It's definitely directed towards brick and mortar. You know, would that work in a larger mass market? I'm not sure, but it really does in like traditional brick and mortar specialty. We can't keep it in stock.
Yeah.
I mean, we are in like a supply chain crisis and an inflationary cycle and yada yada yada. Transportation is not what it's supposed to be and so forth. But we haven't sold a pre-workout like that since like we launched. It's like far and above the most successful like powdered pre-workout like that we have. It does really well, and you know, that's for so many different reasons, I'm sure. But you know, I think a lot of our branding and mentality internally is like this sort of like quote unquote jump the shark mentality, where like we're trying to have like super crazy labels with like all these different layers in it. We're trying to have products that like fit between two standard demographics, and so you have like really typical sports supplement, active nutrition like categories, and then you have like kind of fringe newer value propositions that are being made, and like we're trying to find a way in between so that we can like bridge them, and that's a tall order, especially when you start scaling it, because so much of it's unknown. Like we're you know, there's like tons of people out there who've got playbooks, you know, how to do some of this stuff, and like we're following that, but like we're also trying to have our own unique you know, jump the shark mentality. And Joey, can you mute yourself when you're typing?
I'm not typing.
You're not typing? Oh, all right. Well then, just mute yourself when you're not talking. Because it literally sounds like anyway. Yeah, so I think you guys can appreciate that.
I align with that completely.
Yeah.
You know,
what we did last year was so awesome, and it was so intense, and we had so much involvement from people like you, and we formed really awesome relationships that like I think will last a really long time. And I really appreciate you guys for that, and for now, and for the future, and everything. And you know, it's way more intense for us now, but it doesn't look like it. And you know, probably be a year for the brand where like maybe 2 or 3 years from now, people will look back and be like, oh shit, like they had to set up all this crap. You know, and like there's some very large brands out there that like you can see that they've done that, and I have so much respect for them, because like they're pouncing now with really cool ideas and stuff like that, and it's a mountain when you've got you know, a lot of eyeballs and interested people and shelf space and, you know, partnerships and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm just smiling because like we over like the last like year, you know, we talk all the time. We kind of know like what you guys are sort of going through and things like that. We talk about it, and I've had so many brands, you know, say smaller brands and stuff, and they're like, they want to be like you guys, right? Because they see the success that you're sort of having. And I'm kind of like, yeah, it's not like if you knew what they were going through to get there, it's a totally different story, you know, because you don't see, right? It's the whole like, it's the iceberg analogy or the duck on top of the water. You're not seeing sort of what's going on beneath there. But then, like what you mentioned earlier, you're also going through it in a very unique time period with supply chain. So
if we didn't have like vertical integration, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. We would be dead in the water. We would be dead in the water. But you know, I think people asking you that will probably slow down, just because of like how much like kind of quiet behind the scenes like things are happening at this moment. And then I would, if I could like bet on it, like next year it will resurge again. And then people will be like, oh, how did they get there? They got there because of this thing that they did like 5 days ago. And you're going to be like, no, I've been talking to these guys every day for the last 2 years. And, you know, like they came out swinging and like threw grenades everywhere, and then sort of like retreated and like built a little army, and then came back, and now they're throwing grenades again. But, you know, We got more of them.
Yeah, you'll be throwing nukes down. That's the difference.
Our nukes. But anyway, I don't know. I really want this to kind of be about like what, like, if there's things that you guys want to dive into the brand, because like Joey and I can go on and on about products that are going to be coming out and in our GNC program, and how we're still loyal to like all the partnerships that we've formed like until now. That's kind of a cool topic. We try to create like a marketplace for GLAXON where like everyone who we've built business relationships and partnerships with previously still have like a growing opportunity with the brand. I think that brick and mortar mentalities have definitely changed over the last decade. A lot of the brick and mortar owners, Jacob included, that I've spoken to, like they could care less if we're selling in GNC. If we offer good products and we're constantly like offering you something that's easy to sell and it like brings people back to your store, then
when you guys know me like that, your products don't dictate what sells here. It's the formulas and how well we can, educate our consumer on it. And that's one thing, like most of the good, retailers and brick and mortars that I talk to, they're kind of the same way that, they understand their customer base specifically, and they're not going to nitpick and, bitch and moan over somebody going to GNC. That's kind of, if you're at that point right now, like you probably should just go ahead and close your shop because you're on your way. But
and I think that's one thing that you guys, that's from the very beginning, I'll say, like, even going back to that question where people are like, how, like this miracle that you guys hit the ground running like so hard. I'm like, do you remember like before GLAXON even like launched, how, we talked to you before you launched, here's all the education about our products, here, try some of the products. What do you think about it? You guys spent, God knows how much money at the beginning before you even launched, trying to get out there and help everybody understand what you were trying to do, probably too, because you realized you were going to be doing things, in some different ways, and it was going to come out there, and you were getting ahead of the questions. And because, so much of this industry is follow the leader, as you know, with the pre-workouts and things like that. So the amount of groundwork you did before you even launched is on a totally different level than most brands you ever see. So it's like, I always try to tell people that, like, and now you're kind of doing that again. You've been talking about the GNC thing for a while. It's not just an overnight kind of decision. You told us about that, a while ago. I don't know how long ago was it you were saying that you kind of decided from the very beginning, or
before the Christmas party?
Yeah.
Before the Christmas party, we were locked and loaded. I think I had conversations with some people then. They like that I was just full of shit.
I mean, you were bounced into those conversations, but
they were like, "Oh man, congratulations! Like, I didn't realize you were going to do that." And I was like, "We had a conversation about it face to face, but okay." It's that, and it's we definitely came out locked and loaded. We came out with tons of consumer information, education. I think we're gonna like try to work something out with you guys where we can make that its own like side platform, and maybe roll something out that's just not like us regurgitating stuff. We learned a whole bunch about dropping like 23-minute long videos on GDAs, and I will say that if you want the blueprint on how to drop a brand and like really captivate the attention of industry insiders, like we got you.
Yeah, I agree.
Beyond that, like it's a totally different monster, and like the thing is like we're not willing to let go of a lot of the pieces that are part of this thing that we came out running with, and they're really hard to sync up. It's easy to just go sell bullshit, make it taste awesome and like look awesome, and then market the hell out of it, and just machine gun fire, low hanging fruit. Like people are like, oh wow, that's exactly what I wanted, and it's not anything different than what they already had. It's just repackaged. And like we don't want that. We want like to leave some lasting impact that's going to push people in the space to do more. I think we may have done that already a little bit. I don't want to like toot our own horn because maybe we didn't maybe we did, maybe we didn't. But like, I feel like that's what we're trying to do. And I feel like that's what we did last year. We did, like, there's some things that I see that I hope that's like, we have a positive impact on just like kind of pushing the envelope on more and better. But anyway,
I know for sure that happened because I know a lot of brand owners that as soon as you guys came out, it honestly made them sort of go, okay, let's rethink our approach a little bit. But also somebody has to do it. And it's like, there's a lot of people, I think, that they're plenty capable of doing some really cool things and they're capable of making some cool form, but can you get it out there in a way like what you guys did? Like, and that was something I was going to ask Joey is, the ways the brand sort of launched, but now you're going to be like making formulas in multiple, places. Like that's probably got to be pretty fun for you. Though, right? Like having like some uniqueness here and kind of doing this and that, like as stressful as I'm sure it probably is, it's probably pretty fun.
I mean,
you're muted.
Okay, there we go.
I
don't know about fun, okay, but because I really do like to push the envelope on a lot of things.
Do you have a lot of helium in the room?
Do I sound like I'm on helium?
Yes.
Oh God.
No,
not to me.
Not to me.
Oh, okay, it's just mine.
Yeah, it could be my phone about to fry because this thing is getting hot. Either way, like GNC's getting 5 out of the 23 items. There's a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons could be because they just want to test us out and see how we're going to grow. The other reason is that they've approved quite a lot of our products, and a lot of them we weren't really interested in compromising on because we knew that there would be coming data that would, vindicate like a grass status of one thing, or, it's silly for them to reject this one formula because they have another one that's like almost exactly like it. So what we do is, we're willing to bide our time when it comes to doing these launches in GNC. So that's the reason why you won't, see everything in there, because there might be a couple of like, things with their regulatory department and stuff where we're having to supply them data and everything so they can understand that, yeah, this is actually like totally fine. And that we're sticking to our guns on that. And I think that that's kind of an honorable kind of thing, because it's easier for most companies just to like start cutting ingredients, and then like keeping their price point the same. And then you're like, what the heck happened to this formula? And then you never see the old version of it again. So we're kind of going at it a little bit differently. And that's, it's not the first time I've had products in GNC before. So, I've done the easy road, and now we're doing a little bit more of the harder way of doing things. So, as far as like what's acceptable, like another country is that's more challenging, and I guess you could say fun, because they've got legislation and stuff that is different, and you have to abide by that, or you're simply not going to have products that exist in their marketplace. And it takes a lot of back and forth to really find out exactly everything that you can do for a formula in another country, or even in a select retailer. So it's stressful, because it's like, I don't understand why in Denmark you can only have like 10 milligrams of hyaluronic acid. I don't understand why they put a limit on something like that, or even something like a B vitamin or whatever, or the fact that like hawthorn berry is considered a drug over there. Yeah, I get that. There's just weird little intricacies like that you run into, and part of it's a cultural thing. You find out that a lot of these different extracts and stuff are part of like their standard of care in medicine, and that's just something that we don't have in the United States. These things are shady supplements laced with steroids. Don't ever take them. That kind of like opinion that the public kind of has about our industry, at least for the most part. But more than 50% of people take supplements now. So I think that that reputation is kind of fading a little bit as people end up trying the stuff themselves and actually like seeing some real results from it. So I think that's fun. I think that's fun that we actually do have a little bit of that freedom here, because, like, you know, it's almost as though we're not taken seriously. But, you know, you go across the pond and there's a whole lot of stuff that they take seriously in a whole different kind of a context. So, you know, trying to find ways to achieve those mechanisms without some of your usual tools is a bit challenging, and it's still doable. You know, we had to find a replacement for hawthorn, and we had to find different plants and a different plant part that, you know, would do the same thing that the hawthorn berry would do, and have that make sense. You know, thank you, Blair. Yes, I'm familiar. But it's actually tomorrow morning. But whatever. I'm not going to get off on that sidetrack. But yeah, it is challenging, and to do things for GNC, you know, we made it a point with even all the products, the 5 products that we are even like bringing into store, that each product should have at least one new ingredient or a new concept that is not in the store or has not been in the store previously. So, you know, there's a big education burden on us as far as that. Michael and I have already been, you know, taking conference calls with different districts, trying to get them up to speed. We've been doing store visits. We've done a couple of, you know, larger division conferences where we just, you know, we get 30 minutes to really run down 5 products. And for me, you know, that's not exactly easy. I would give them more of like, you know, the I guess you could say like a Steve Jobsy kind of a rundown, you know, as quick as you can get to those like major points of like, you know, what you're doing as far as innovation and all that stuff's concerned. But, you know, you give half an hour, and if you don't get that message across in half an hour, then you're gonna have a hard time. But, you know, if you make, you know, big and bold enough statements that are blanket statements that they can actually look into, I mean, like if we didn't film like all the supplement lab episodes and stuff, we wouldn't be able to walk into those meeting rooms and say those bold things, you know, without having a complete reference to be like, hey, if you're questionable on this or don't believe it, go ahead and check out our videos. They're available like on demand, and if you want to do that, you can. And then, like, you know, for them to actually look into that, and if they want to go even further, they can go to Google Scholar and find all the different ways that, yeah, this actually is real.
So you said, because you went through this process before with GNC a while back, and now sort of GNC is sort of doing this retooling of their company also, right? And I think, did you notice that there's any like differences maybe in their approach towards everything? Because now I think the big question was, you know, when GNC had their whole thing, like a lot of people were like quick to say, oh yeah, you know, GNC, but I think a lot of people looked at it as an opportunity for GNC to maybe like go back to the drawing board with some things that they were doing. So I don't know if, like, you know, when you guys were meeting with them, was there anything different? Are they maybe changing, you know, the way they're sort of steering the ship over there?
You know, I think they're really eager to bring in new stuff, to bring in new brands. They're trying to find emerging trends. I think they're in a lot better shape than they were, you know, in the past. Right now, they have a lot of cool new programs that they're setting up. I don't know if it's my place to really get in the weeds on that, but you know, from our view, I think they're like on a progressive track at the moment. You know, I certainly hope so. We got some eggs in the basket, but you know, it just going and I don't know how much time you guys have spent in a GNC, but just like going in and being in like 30 stores and like, you know, or more in like just the last month or so, the people who come into that environment for supplements and advice and stuff like that, it's very different from brick and mortar specialty. You know, Jakob probably is pretty keen on that. I think Joey's spent time, like, you know, in his past working in the GNC environment, like actually in store, and then you know, how that contrasts with others. But it's going to be really interesting to take what we're offering and like make it compelling to that audience, and then like have them really appreciate the layers that are like kind of in the products. You know, Jakob does a great job of like covering those bases. When people come in, they probably leave, come back, buy the same product, you know, and they understand like and appreciate like the little things that are in there that are extraordinary. I think that the shelf space on in Jakob stores is it's more competitive in that regard. Like you got to do something, you got to do things, you got to do special things with the formulations first and foremost for store owners like Jakob to really appreciate it, want to bring it in and educate people, help out. So we're entering like a paradigm there that's a huge learning curve. Right. Making sure that like we can in knowing when we can't translate that information to the consumer is probably the hardest pill to swallow. And that might be a good pivot point to like talk about Xeno. Probably our coolest piece of like internal IP. That's something that's coming. I don't know that anybody's really seen it before now, but we're sort of retooling Xeno for a V3, which is a little bit preposterous because it's not that old of a product. Maybe the third time's the charm. But I know you guys appreciate MyoSeq. You appreciate that like massive amino acid blend. That you appreciate the time that it takes to sequence human muscle tissue and replicate it. You understand why that might be valuable or more valuable than just, BCAAs or nine amino acids. A general consumer doesn't give a shit. Actually, I would go so far as to say, like, even a slightly above average consumer of amino acids doesn't care. Right?
I was gonna say, I think for like the general person, it almost because there's the whole proprietary blend kind of thing, and it's almost like by doing something innovative, because the way the trends have sort of gone, especially when it comes to amino acid products, like a lot of people just think anything now they're like anything proprietary is evil and you're just getting ripped off and stuff like that. And if you see too many things in a proprietary blend, that suddenly it becomes, because that was the questions I immediately got when it came to the first Xeno that came out. And then when we had that conversation, it's like, well, it's going down a different path. So it's almost like exactly like what I think what you're talking about is by doing something almost too cool and too off the beaten path, you almost like lose it, which is super unfortunate.
Well, what I know now, like sort of at the helm of certain things, we need a $50 million company to make MyoSeq like understood and digestible, because we need to pay for probably $500,000 worth of studies. We need to get other professionals that aren't us involved. Like we got to do all of these things, and like we're not there yet. So I look forward to a time hopefully, I really hope that,
me too.
Really hope that someday we have a brand that is done that well, and then Joey can be at the helm of CSO duties that we're not gonna and then maybe we can talk about flavor collabs and that kind of stuff too. But I think at least now where I'm sitting, I would say that kind of thing is like doing really innovative, expensive stuff and making sure that we have enough of a paper trail and awareness on that end. I would spend the money there. Flavor collabs are really fucking dope, that they're not part of our branding. They haven't been part of our branding. We're going to make as awesome of flavors as we can. We can't afford to make flavors that aren't really good. That's what you'll see in this new Xeno. I need to send you, Justin, the homemade lemonade, because I know you're a lemon guy. Jacob, you'll love it too.
Yeah, I'm ready to try it.
Justin's going to probably just go on and on about it because it's good. It's really good, but it's not it doesn't have the logo of your favorite childhood lemonade on it. And that's just not where we're at. And,
well, I mean, that's not on brand. I mean, for you guys.
At least not now. I mean,
not right now. But then again, I mean, if you started doing that right now, that's what the end thing is. You would just be ripping off one major brand that everybody else is trying to do right now.
Ooh.
We do
there is a way to do it tactfully.
One flavor collab-ish thing
exactly
that we're trying to do, but it's not it's not your favorite childhood thing. Not at your convenience store. It's super cheeky. And if it works out, it will just make you laugh, and that will be the end of it.
Well, that's exactly on brand though. That's GLAXON.
Yeah.
That's
trying to do. But
I want to see GLAXON available like an astronaut food, like the
dude, that would be sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's they're
like, oh shit.
That's
Yeah,
some food
I
to
want
the
to go on and on about what I had, but I don't want to.
Well,
It won't be as cool.
I have a question about. So you said Tranquility is going to GNC. I think your maybe like most viable product right now is Serenity.
Yep.
And what about that one? Because especially when you start talking about, we see it all the time, and you guys see the same thing. The average person now is just starting to discover ashwagandha, or ashwagandha, whatever you want to call it. And there's a way that now you have all these people coming in. They're like ashwagandha, testosterone, stress, and all sort of stuff. You've got something cooler than just the regular version. So maybe now is like a really good time to come in with something a little bit more innovative in that space, because you're almost able to quickly say, yeah, that can do this, but this is better. You're not like introducing them to a new concept.
Yeah, so the Tranquility will be in store. Serenity is on there, is available at gnc.com. That is positioned to be in store, like in the queue. But it's just going to take us time. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of product.
Yeah.
There's a lot of education.
We were like a huge fan. It was just like, oh, you want that much product? Cool. We'll just go pull the pallets down, and we keep like $5 million in all the time. No problem.
Right.
I agree with you though. I think that Serenity is like maybe I was saying earlier, like it's in between categories, like, and it's not just strung together to like include like TikTok ingredients in it and then like have some stupid badge of like this contains like no sugar and like whatever. But you're like, this is a capsule. Why would it even say that? But then that I've seen it. I've seen like ashwagandha pill products, and it's like this has no calories in it. There's no sugar in it. And I'm like, this is literally just checking like idiot box, like after idiot box, and then like it really works.
It really works.
I think it's a little bit like complicated, but the messaging's not super complicated, and the product works really well. So, if someone's chasing that kind of like lower cortisol, lower stress experience, and they try it, like it should become like, I think they'd be urged to like have it around. I think Tranquility's more profound. Tranquility's like kind of, we didn't have to change that one much, and it's super compliant and it's super effective.
We love it.
It's kind of like the hardest hitting pre-workout in the store, but it's for sleep. It's like it flies under the radar, and then someone buys it for sleep, and they're like, "Ooh, okay," or at least that's how I feel about it. If I don't take it for a while and I take it, I'm just like, dude, this shit kind of hits.
Yeah, man. I mean, we don't even recommend. It's in our brain health section in our stores, and I mean, it does incredibly well because once we explain the mechanisms, and I appreciate Joey for literally giving us an hour lecture, me and Austin, of how each ingredient works. Basically for reducing stress and cortisol levels and the prevention of conversion. I mean, people love it. And it's a very cool talking point on the comparison between each strengths with analyte content and how they can benefit, people. So, I mean, we love it. It's an amazing, amazing product for us.
So, I don't know. I'm trying to think about what's going to be the most compelling for people watching. Do you have any hard-hitting questions for us as a brand? Do you guys want to talk about like random shit that we have coming and how ridiculous that list is?
We're about to reach our time cap on the formula, but if you have any other questions, we can.
No, I want to talk about just what you mentioned there at the end, because I know you have a lot of stuff going on, and I know people. That's what people want to know, like about you guys. They want to know like what's coming, because I think people, which is really cool, because I think you guys are one of those brands, at least from people that I talk to, that people they want to know what's next, because they've used your products and they know that they work. So now honestly, like I know people, they'll buy your stuff without looking at the formula, because they're just like, tell me the category and it's from them, so I'll grab it. So I know a lot of people always want to know, because I think that you've built a reputation already that not only will you push, concepts that people are already used to, you'll push outside the box on them, but you also do it in a way that's going to deliver results. Because there's a lot of like, you try something new, but it doesn't work, but it's like you kind of deliver on both sides. So I know people are always asking me like, what do they have going on? When's the protein coming? What's all the other stuff?
I'll run through a list of stuff and you just tell me if I miss anything. Okay. So we have the collagen coming. We have the hybrid V2 coming. That was modified after Jakob took like 4 or 5 servings in one day.
That was fun. Hey, but I gotta say that was the best tasting stuff I've ever had.
Right, it was good tasting.
Good, but it takes into account like anybody who wants to maybe use it a couple times in a day. So collagen hybrid. We have a modified version of Xeno V3 coming. We have Slice V2 coming, which is a stimulant fat burner. We have a non-stim nootropic, which will likely replace Adrenal. We have Goon, which is like the nootropic electrolyte beverage. We have a protein mocked up, but protein prices are like 3 to 4x what they used to be. So we're not jumping into that party anytime soon. We need that to stabilize. We have a fiber product coming that stacks really nicely with some other things that we have. We have we have a new, never before seen sort of anabolic peptide of things coming that will stack with Flight and Alpha really well, and it should also be unisex.
Was that the one I got to try?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I've told a few people about that already. They're ready for it.
That one's going to be pretty badass, especially since it stacks really well with Alpha and Flight.
You're going to see peptides becoming more of a theme with us.
In our repository for sure. We have, speaking of peptides, we have a new GDA coming out, which kind of like puts cheat to shame, takes into account a lot of the issues that users had. It's not just a GDA, it's more of a GDA with an anti-aging and like overall wellness take. But that I think is like an emerging market, and the GDA itself is so effective that it won't, like, people will just hopefully buy into that secondary benefit over time. Joey, let me know if I left anything off, because I know there's probably more, but it's like 20 SKUs that we have planned and we don't know where to put them. So I'm sure you guys will be in
I'm looking forward to the new stacks, because a lot of these things, like everything's designed to be stacked, right? But some things are actually like more stackable with other SKUs than like, say, something like thermal and Dr. Creatine, where it's like water in, water out. It's not probably a very smart stack, but we do have probably like 2 or 3 that are very, very different from anything that you've seen before. And then like some of them are completely cognitive. Some of them are more on that like anti-aging kind of the spectrum of it. And a lot of this, we're probably going to be reaching on a few of these as far as like how far out they are, as far as like this anti-aging kind of concept, and how this is actually applicable to people who are our age, so we can like kind of fix the problems before they become problems. Anti-aging is going to be a big category that will be coming, but you have to make it make sense to people who are already young, so you can actually get like some meaningful kind of life extension out of them. Because if you give this stuff to a geriatric, they might see some benefit and all, but it's about making these things part of your regimen from an earlier age than you would be if you're just trying to be reactive.
And also making sure that people, because what I see, a lot of people will grab it for a month, they don't necessarily know what they're supposed to expect, and they just buy it because it sounds cool, but then they don't stick to it. So then understanding like exactly like what you're talking about, why you start taking and then why you have to continuously take it. So getting people that, and so it's worth it on products like that to maybe do more education up front, because if then someone says, okay, I buy this concept for an extended period of time, then you have, it's instead of like a pre-workout where maybe they buy it for a month, then they try everybody else's pre-workouts for like a few months and then come back. It's like, it might be worth it in a concept like that to spend more money, do more education up front, because maybe they become a lifelong user of the product. And then, you kind of do the work up front, and then you don't have to worry about so much in the background. We lose Michael?
We'll just send everyone over to your IG to ask you all those questions.
Yeah. Thank you for the job security always. And then also because every time you come out with there's like, I don't know, like 3,000 ingredients in the app. And every time you guys release a new product, I have to go put more in. So I always appreciate, you guys.
We have at least like 4 I know of in the near future that we'll have to send over.
Well, when you had the non-stim nootropic, there was like 3 things. I'm like, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of that.
Man, I ran out of that, and it's like been bothering me for the last week and a half.
That's the way I feel about the so there was like, speaking of the you mentioned like the anabolic formula that you're making. That's like the question I get every day, and it's really hard to answer those types of questions. But when I was using that product, you could see there's tangible results when it came to gym performance. And then when I've removed that, there's tangible results to the opposite effect. So
really,
I can look at that and go, this is what happened.
Yeah, what you were saying that to me like in the second week. You're like, hey man, something's going on.
Mm-hmm. And I was sending you my actual numbers, like and I'm like, okay. And then when I took it away, then I was like, that's when I was really like, this sucks. Mm-hmm. Like, why would you do this to me and then not release it like anytime soon? So,
Joey, do we have enough material to make more samples of that guy?
Well, and he'll get the upgraded version because we've made a little tweak since then.
All right. One surefire way to like hijack some industry insider hype is just to get Jacob or just to get Justin on that shit. Like if it's working for him, man, we're gonna have a line of people being like, "What is that? What is that? Can we have?"
Right. Because I basically dumped on every single product in that category, like from day one, except for that one.
I was kind of wondering if that was gonna happen with this one. I mean, actually, we wouldn't have sent it to you if we thought that was gonna happen, but like. We've been good. We've been lucky with you. I think like for whatever that is, like we've sent you a bunch of shit to try, and I think like 80% of the time you're like, dude, this is like something's going on.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. I appreciate you guys for that.
Sure.
I don't know if you guys have any closing things you want to do, but I appreciate you guys for having us.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on, man. I mean, we all 4 of us talk pretty much every day, at least briefly. And
we were doing anytime.
I was going to say, I really appreciate you guys coming on. And if you guys are watching right now, make sure you go follow along with GLAXON. Obviously, they have grown tremendously in the 2 years that I've known them.
Mm-hmm.
And we really appreciate their partnership and friendship. And
then also follow I'm GLAXON on TikTok.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Joey goes in.
Because that's been my favorite social media thing lately is, because there's a way to do it on TikTok too, where you take someone else's video and then you sort of can debunk it on the fly and make it into one video. And
then they report your TikTok.
Right.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean, I just hope you guys are okay with
happened.
I've downloaded a few of Joey's videos and I've totally used them on the TNS stories.
Awesome. If you have a new one that you'd like us to do, please send it over.
Well, like I'm recycling his content because it's incredible, and I think people deserve to see it. And so yeah, keep it up, guys. Seriously.
I gotta credit that one to Blair. I think Blair instigated the bulk of this TikTok. Funny.
Not only that, I mean, because he does it in a way it's like kind of funny, like how ruthless it is, but at the same time, it's not like you're not just saying, well, everything that they're saying is bullshit. You're telling exactly why it's bullshit in a very like quick amount of time, which is so you're able to like blow holes in these concepts that quickly. I think that's kind of eye-opening. Besides being entertaining, it's eye-opening for people to go. And I see it permeate through like what people say that they're realizing they're like, wow, okay, this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think people are like becoming more naturally skeptical of everything that they sort of see. At least from what
I thought that, I really did, and then man,
I'll say from my perspective, 100%. People are.
Shit goes out. There'll be if TikTok says that like X ingredient is awesome, there'll be like a nationwide shortage of it like 2 weeks later.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen it. I've been in stores and like seen him come in and like hold the phone up and show. Joey's been in there with me and like show them the TikTok video. I'd be like, yeah, we need tyrosine and we need ashwagandha. Yeah. We're like, we don't take Adderall anymore. We take these two things.
Yeah.
And then you know, the guy's like, sorry, we've been sold out of tyrosine for 3 months. Like, you guys just keep buying it up. And then I'm like, you know, I there is a natural skepticism, like for sure, but I think it's like turned on its head with TikTok because you have people that are just like always gonna want to be told that something can fix whatever, and then you know, you tell them that, and then they're like trying to spend money, and they're gonna spend that money, and that's like where we're in. You know, what we talked about earlier. It's like, as a brand, like we don't want to base our crap. But at the same time, we're like competing in the field of it. So, you know, a lot to be learned. You guys are definitely making a difference on a daily basis. And you know, I think we're trying to do the same.
Yeah, I agree. I think you guys are definitely helping us. You make it easier for us too. So it works both ways.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Likewise.
Well, I guess that concludes the Formula Cast.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching and listening so much. If you're not already, subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, the Formula Podcast. I am working diligently to get the profile picture changed every single day. Apple does not want to comply with me. But, yeah, and also make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, The Nutrition Store LLC. The Formula Podcast will go live pretty much every week. We kind of have bouncing days. Probably Monday will be a good staple.
Monday's a good day.
Most weeks. So, thank you guys so much, and yeah, have a great night.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you guys.